Hello, and welcome to the November newsletter now. That's flown by, isn't it? Um, I just wanted to give a bit of an update, let you know where things are at the moment, uh, what I've got going on, and what we've got going on through the sculpture gallery as well. To start with, it's been a funny month. I've been just concentrating on a lot of separate projects. I know last month I sent some pictures over this recent commission, the Virgin Prunes piece. For those who haven't seen it, it's four portraits made of the band, the Virgin Prunes. Um, two two portraits of each member, one on each side. So it's based on the column statues that you sometimes see um, on on in Greek architecture. So I've used that for inspiration and then made a standing piece. So I'll post some more pictures of that, I guess, on the newsletter so you can see that update. Um, I've just finished it off with like a real sort of black matte finish with some kind of metallic shading on it, a bit of graphite. Just have a look for yourselves. Other than that, I've been working on the small pieces that have been termed oddities, which it's for those that haven't seen those, it's my smaller work about that made out of terracotta, usually with just kind of a basic oxide wash on them just to bring out the details and things. So the kind of red brick, but with this dark shading. What I tend to do, and I know I went through this last month, but I've had a few new subscribers, so I'll say it again, is to put together a list of titles, random titles, throw them in a box, and just pick one out, and then sculpt whatever that may be. Um, I've now got from this series, I think I'm on number 5 or 6 at the moment. I was hoping to have done a few more by now, but just life got in the way. So we are where we are. Um, what I'm going to do is I think I'll get to 7 or 8 and I'll just run them through in the kiln and then we'll add those to the online shop. They'll also be available in the sculpture gallery as well. So I haven't got any finished pieces to show, unfortunately, but I can show some of the work in progress. I've um, Some people were asking about my process in terms of making them and things, and I've tried. I'm not very good at it, but I've tried to put some reels, I believe the kids call it, on Instagram, just which are kind of time lapse videos of the process. It pains me a little bit because um uh, I've got this hatred for cutting corners on social media and just showing the end product and all that kind of stuff. Um, it's a long process. There's no getting away from it, and the longer you spend, the better pieces end up. So as I say, I will make them available on the store. They'll be also available in the sculpture gallery. Hoping to get them in before Christmas. That would be the sensible thing to do if I was at all um, marketing savvy or whatever. They'll turn up when they turn up, and uh, we'll sort that. But if you've got your eye on any of them, just let me know. Send me a DM, send me an email, usual kind of thing, and we can have a chat and also make some photos if you need them. Okay, right. Other things on the go. There's quite a few open calls in January coming up, and I did notice that um, a lot seem to be focused around portraits. I love doing portraits. I find them hard work, Probably because they're not, it's not sketch work, and you have to actually put in time and effort. Um, I think it's good, and it kind of takes you back to your roots and um, and tests your skills and abilities. So I think it's a good thing. So I was thinking about that, and I was also thinking about themes. And I'm not a big fan of just doing a portrait in this is Wilma. Um, Here she is, boom. I quite like to make them into concept pieces, and that got me thinking about, um, the nature of subjects in sculpture. Um, so I just wanted to share, I guess, just as part of this vlog, just wanted to share my reflections on that just really quickly. Um, because I started to think about it, and then I started to think about classical sculpture, and the themes that we see in classical sculpture. Now, it seems to be the case that we've got to a point now where we don't tend to use interpretation and imagination as much. Um, and I was thinking about the reason for that. Um, just to provide a bit of context there, looking back, uh, it appears that a lot of the what we think of now of classical sculptures, a lot of the subjects were taken from storytelling, be it biblical storytelling, be it Greek mythology. Um, so a lot of the same characters pop up again and again and again, but there doesn't appear to be I think the term's canon, isn't it? There doesn't appear to be one idea of what that person looked like. So if we think about, for example, think about David and Goliath. We've got Donatello's interpretation of David, um, which is presented in quite a feminine way. He's got that. It's great. He's got that bizarre um, floral hat on for some reason. Not quite sure why. I'll pop a little picture up here just in case you haven't seen it. Um, and so that's his individual interpretation of David. And then we look at that's kind of mid 1400s, and then we've got just 50 years later, we've got the kind of iconic um, Michelangelo interpretation of David, which, as we know, is the sort of large, muscular figure with the large hand. Um, just two absolute parallels, but brilliant. Like two individual interpretations, just uh, regurgitating the story that they've heard and has been passed on, and thinking about regurgitating probably not the right word, but thinking about how the what the character means to them and how they've seen that character in the mind's eye and then depicting that. In the same vein, if we think about Icarus, there was Canova um, did a version of Daedalus and Icarus, and then we look at that in comparison. Just I think it was 50 years later in the 1800s, sorry, Alfred Gilbert's version of Icarus as well. Two very very different versions of the same character, and I think that's probably a lot to do with the fact that they didn't have um, the ability to distribute and record like we do. And my idea was to because I don't like thinking that I'm just going to go over old ground. And I think that if we start just replicating um, classical figures, that's from these stories. That's what we're doing. And what I want to do is think about taking a character from storytelling and presenting that character as a portrait. The problem that I've hit is that if, in terms of modern storytelling, we're either talking about um, we're talking about novels, aren't we? We're talking about texts and books, which ultimately in these days have probably been turned into a film. And when that happens, we get a very objective idea of what those characters look like. Um, so just to use kind of a crude example, if you think about Lord of the Rings, now it's hard to imagine those characters within that text without thinking of the film version and the actors that portrayed those characters, be it Ian Holm or Martin Freeman or Orlando Bloom. So I think another example is I always think about Jack Nicholson in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. They actually put him on the cover of that book, which is kind of sacrilege, isn't it? It's taking away um, any opportunity to just use your imagination to form an opinion of what that character should have looked like. Um, Captain Corelli, and the same thing in they put Nicolas Cage on the book, and obviously from the film version, the text description is of a stout, balding fat man, I believe, which probably I don't know. Nicolas Cage he changes his style quite a lot, but I don't think he's quite there yet. Um, so my idea, it's a long way around, isn't it, to get to this point? My idea for these new portraits is to look at text descriptions of characters to really take it back to the initial birth of a character, and then whether they've been um, depicted in movies, whether there's a set ideal of what those characters look like. I'm going to go back to the birth of that character to the text, and I'm going to just purely cancel everything else out and just make my interpretation of that character using the text, and that's it. And I haven't decided which text to use yet. I haven't decided which book. I've just got this idea in my head, and I'm going to pursue it. I think a lot of these submissions are January time, so I need to get on it really, um, and start putting that together. So I shall send updates around about that. But I just wanted to share that with you. So there we go. That's it really. I've gone over what I wanted to um, quite significantly. So I'm going to go now. But thank you as ever for subscribing. Thank you for um, the interactions, questions that come through. I'll always try and get back to people, whether it's via Instagram, Facebook, email, etc. So please do keep reaching out if you've got any questions, if you need anything in terms of um, photographs of pieces, and obviously the sculpture gallery, we're open on Friday to Monday now. We're doing a bit of an open exhibition this in December. We usually have a guest artist every month. This December, on the first Thursday, we're doing an opening, which is going to feature all the different artists we've had through the year. I think everyone's going to put in one or two pieces, and so it'll be a really sort of exciting mix of work that we'll have going on. But when that's a little bit closer, I'll publicise that either through Instagram or through my blog. I say lovely to see you. Can't see you, but okie doke. I shall see you all soon.